Hi everyone, I'm Sarah at Childhood Finds. If you haven't joined me here before, I am doing my part 2 of my what sold, and so I will link the part 1 in the video description if you want to check that out if you haven't already watched it. Otherwise, we're just gonna go ahead and rumble on into this one. So this first one is going to be a vintage lot of 2 Child's Disney Donald Duck and Goofy mesh hats. I put as is flaws because there was some staining, some little things here and there, and I couldn't get them out and didn't want to put in the effort to get them out. And I have no cost into this because my best friend actually got these for me at the bins. So it was really wonderful of her to get these and source them for me. And so I did take a best offer of 15. They'd been listed for a little while, but I lotted them up because they didn't sell for a ton on their own. So I thought it was a cute little lot. And so 15 bucks is a great price for these two. This one has a little story behind it. So this is the SS Happiness Crew. Vintage 1979 doll clothing outfit. It's Wrecker's overalls. That's the character, is Wrecker. And so I got a succession of messages from a potential buyer that wanted these. And she was so sweet. She just wanted to make sure they fit right and had a bunch of questions. And she wanted to ask me what the best offer I would take is. And then she said she just got too excited and she just went ahead and bought them. But she was so kind and so nice and so excited. And she asked me if I had a second because I have other characters in this crew and I have 2 of their outfits each. I didn't of him, but I actually had the Wrecker the raccoon wearing the outfit. So I asked if she'd like that. And because she was so nice, I just included it in her package. She totally offered to pay. Like, she in no way expected me to give these to her for free, the second pair, but they were used and I figured this is going to go to someone that really, really wants it. And she was very excited and very happy. So when I can spread some kindness, I do. I can't always afford to do that, but for this I was able to. So, but this one sold for full asking price to a very happy buyer. This is, and that one previously I have less than $1 into it probably, and it came from the same bulk buy as the lunchbox and the other stuff. So I've already made my money many times over because this one I'm showing you right now is also from that bulk buy, and it's another lunchbox. This is a 1985 strawberry shortcake lunchbox, American Greetings, Aladdin. Again, no thermos. If you watched my last one, please include no thermos if it's one that should have it, just in case, to protect your tush. And I took a best offer of 15 for this and probably less than $1 again into this. So I'm totally happy with that because this one wasn't in as good condition. So it had some flaws, but it was still very nice. And this came from where the lunchboxes did and other stuff. This was a lot of Sealite and Deca strawberry shortcake melamine set. It had 1 plate, 2 bowls, and 1 mug. And so it was just a very cute little set. It sold for 30 bucks. So this was a super good deal. And I was very pleased with that profit. I think I'd say less than $1 each is what I have into each of the pieces that I put together, but very happy with that. This is a Jane Austen Pride and Prejudice Illustrated Heritage Press. I put no slipcover because it should have one. It also is in kind of a cruddy condition. So there's an auction place near me that is very high priced, and I don't go down to look at the items, so it's my fault that I didn't see, but this wasn't in very good condition. Most of the books I bought in that lot that I did weren't in great condition. So it is what it is when you buy auction lots. I'm still making good money on the lot, but I just would have made more if they were in a little better shape. But this I still took a best offer of 20 bucks on. So if you find this version of Pride and Prejudice with its slipcover, you're looking at 40, 50 bucks. Really nice little profit for a single book. This is a 1927, The Art of Dressmaking. It was just a nice book. I sold it for full asking, probably have about $1 into it. Let's see if I have any pictures. Yeah, so there it is. So it was just a very cool little book. Nothing super special about it, but it was in good condition. Others like it had sold, so 25 bucks for a book is always a win for me because it does not shatter. I'm including this, so I've actually sold 3 textbooks this week, so or within the last 7 days or so, so I'm super grateful for those profits. But do be careful with textbooks because I've been caught in the downturn. And what I mean by that is they release a new edition, which makes your edition you have that you waited too long to sell basically worthless. So I got really lucky on this one because it's 2020 and it's getting probably close to when it probably will make an edition. But it's mathematical ideas and it sold for full asking. I sold 3 of them this week. I am so excited because it's like 150 between the 3 of them. So textbooks are great, but I included it to mention and strongly urge you to get them listed immediately when you have them, and to also maybe price a little lower so that they move, because otherwise you get stuck with something that's not very valuable because it will quickly tank if a new edition is released. I also like to give college students a little bit of a deal because they pay too much for textbooks. I did. And it's just, I had my parents helping me, but still, it's too much money for these books. I can count probably at least half of my classes. We barely opened that thing. So, 70 bucks for this one. And I paid $2.50 at a thrift store. This is Limax. So this is a Limax Village Flowers for Sister Figures, Nuns, a Little Girl from 2002. It sold for full asking. I have 20 cents, I think, into this, 25 cents into this. And I think that's a great profit because it's very little. It's a very little tiny piece. And so do watch out for these because they can get you good money, the Limax. This is going to be a lot of 2, Dolly Parton, Here You Come Again, and Heartbreaker. So again, I like to lot together my artist when I'm able and when it makes sense to. And this, I took a best offer, 20 bucks for them. I've got $4 into this, I think. So it's not a massive profit, but it's a good profit to me. And they're both in pretty good condition. This one's a cool sale. So this is an Art Deco green rhinestone fleur-de-lis decorative fan hair comb. And it sold for full asking price. Let me show you. This is what I'm referring to when I refer to that fleur-de-lis. You see that? It almost looks like a cross. That's what you're looking at with that rhinestones. And I have 50 cents into this. We got this from a very high-priced estate sale. And so that was very exciting. We got 2 others at the same time. So I raised one of them a little bit after this one because it sold so quickly, but I can always lower it, you know. You can always lower prices, and I always have best offer on. So I like including that. So yeah, 50 cents into 60 bucks. This was awesome. Sold in a day or 2. This is a Scully Rangewear men's size large black western bib shirt. I paid $2 for this and took a best offer for $22. You know, I mentioned clothes, once they are pictured and put up, they are easy because I pre-packaged this into a platted flat rate, wrote on it what it was, and then slapped on the label. So really easy to ship. Just got to keep pushing myself to do clothes. Just got to keep branching. This thing was so heavy. This is a 1951 New Standard Holy Bible Red Letter Edition, blue ribbon. It was just so big. I have $1 into this, but it was at least an 8-pound Bible. So, you know, it's fine. It sold for 17 bucks. It took a little extra time to pack because it's a little more awkward too. But I'm happy with the profit. This one's a really cool sale just because I'd never done anything with Zippos before, so this was fun to learn about and see. So this is a Marlboro Zipper Lighter Copper. E03 is on the bottom, and it's made in USA. I put untested because it looks, of course, like it should work, is in good condition. I bought this at an estate sale from actually the man that was moving, so his wife had recently passed, and so it was his, and so I was pretty confident it worked, but I'd still rather be totally upfront that I have not personally tested this. I have not seen it working, but it's in good condition, and it sold for the full asking, but I sent a refund of $8 to the buyer because they had previously received an offer that I'd sent out, but were not able to purchase it at that time. So then when they got the money, they purchased it. And I kind of wanted to honor that offer to them because they would have took it if they could have. So I just sent him an $8 refund, and he was very, very happy and kind. And he gave me information about this lighter too. So very knowledgeable and shared information. So I just wanted to pass along the kindness. I have $10 into this, and I'm going to ask you guys a question. So this buyer actually reached out and gave me more information about this item. And I've considered, I struggle with when I see listings that have errors, if I should say something to the seller. And the reason I struggle with it is because I want to tell them mainly to protect them, because a lot of times they are misrepresenting in the way that they are trying to get more money for an item that is worth less. But I don't want to come off as a know-it-all or rude, and so I just don't. And do any of you guys do it? Do you reach out to sellers and tell them what they have? I know my mother-in-law said when she did eBay that she would reach out to people and they were typically grateful. Sometimes she said they didn't say anything and then got more money off of her information. But what are your opinions? Write in the comments if you do it. I'm considering, because I genuinely want to help, but I don't want to seem like a turd. So I don't want to be rude. I don't want it to come off as rude or condescending, because when I was researching this one, someone actually had this listed, but it was a different version. So it had an A instead of an E, which made the A worth 50 and the E is worth 100. I don't know much about this stuff. I'm still learning. But they had their A represented as an E, so they were trying to sell a $50 lighter for 100. And I mostly wanted to say, like, hey, I just want you to know, because I don't want you to get a return and an angry buyer. So I'm debated. I've also thought about it when I look at books, when people represent one as a first edition that is not. I don't know if I should say anything. So please tell me if you do, or what you would do in that kind of situation and how you would respond. So this buyer reached out to me and said I should add Marlboro and things like that to the listing. Was very sweet and kind. He was a seller as well. So I know it can be done properly. I'm afraid I'm not going to do it properly. So let's keep going. This is a NKJV. This is the New King James Version is what that means. Journal, the Word, Bible, large print, bonded leather. Just a very nice. I know I do not properly grade my books, because I tend to undersell, because I really want the buyer, because then the buyer was like, I am so happy with the condition. And I mostly do it to protect my butt in case I make oopsies. But this was in good condition, absolutely good condition. So I always include lots of pictures. That's really where I describe my condition, is my plethora of pictures, because it take a lot. As soon as they upped that level to 24 pictures, yeah, I took advantage of that. And so I took a best offer, 25 on this, and paid $1 for it. This is the etiquette of letter writing, and it's just this little tiny thing. Oh, I do have a ruler. So I try to include a ruler when they're little tiny books, just to give buyers a better idea, because when you look at this picture, you're like, oh, it's just a normal book. Nope, it's adorable. So have about less than $1 into this, and it sold for a best offer of 10. Nothing super special, but it's cute. This is part of my Angry Birds buy, and this guy sold for full asking, and yes, it did work. I'm going to show you the video again, because again, adding videos is really great. I think it helps the buyer and it helps protect the seller too. And you can do this if you're like me and you're a phone lister. So I will make the listing, draft it, and then I will go through my web browser onto the eBay Seller Hub. And then you just open your draft and you can upload your video from there. So you don't have to do it from a computer, because otherwise I would never do it. So let's see if I can pop up this video quickly. Yeah, they all pretty much sound like that, like they're hitting things, because Angry Birds. But it sold for full asking and have $1 into this. And it's the Angry Birds Green Minion Pig. It was Commonwealth 2012. And do always include, if yours has sound, do make sure to put that, because lots of them, the sound goes away. This is a Winnie the Pooh alphabet counted cross stitch. It was new and my first oops. So on the weekends, I tend to get a little lax on ending my listings on List Perfectly onto my other platforms, and I did that this weekend with this one, and it sold on Mercari too. So I just had to cancel it on Mercari, because eBay will smack you with a stone if I were to cancel this sale as out of stock. So Mercari is much more forgiving, and so I sold this for $15. I sold it for $15 too on Mercari, so it was fine. So yeah, I'm gonna be a little more diligent on the weekends, because this one could have been avoided, because it was like 24 hours after that it sold. So definitely my bad. And I think I have like $1 into this. This is a Sony CyberShot digital camera. It had everything. I mean, it was basically brand new, but I was not gonna list it as brand new. But it had the stickers, all of the paperwork, chargers, you know, memory card, cords, everything that was included in that box. I paid up for this, and I laugh because paying up for me, I'm like $15. That was a lot for me. I am a cheap human. I know I am, but I'm trying to pay up a little bit for items now. That's kind of my new thing this year, in a way, just to get some of those higher value items. Because, you know, we can't always find lots of $1 into hundreds. It happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen all the time. But 15 into 85 is absolutely fabulous. So I'm glad I did it, but I definitely cringed when I did so. And it worked. I tested it, so it was perfect condition, and it sold very quickly after I got it listed. This is a Through the Ages, a New Story of Civilization board game. It had all the pieces. I bought it for $5 at a thrift store. It was a used game, but it sold for $25. So easy little profit, fit into one of the priority boxes. This is a vintage Apache soft 45-inch brown Western design vinyl rifle case with a lining. And I took a best offer of $40 for this. I paid $8 at a yard sale for it. And yeah, the pictures suck. It was big. I had to take pictures of this on my table. So the pictures stink, but the buyer is happy, and so good sale for me. I try to do nice pictures, but it doesn't always happen. This is a lot of 2 brass owl bird animal decoration decor pair. So I struggle with descriptors sometimes when I get my brass, because, you know, it's a pair of brass owls, and that's all it is. So, but this was just a cute little pair, and they're like barely a couple inches here. Yeah, the biggest is about 2.5 inches, so big boys. But they're dense. So if I get these little brass animals, I do try to lot them when I can, because they're dense, and so your shipping increases a significant amount. So you have to be careful, because then you're not going to get a buyer because you're shipping so much, because they think, well, it's just this little thing, but they're heavy little things. So it sold for full asking and probably $1 or $2 into them. This is a Hasbro 2004 Triple Shot Super Soaker. This is not one of the rare, you know, expensive vintage ones by any means. I paid $4 in a thrift store for it, and I took a best offer of $18 just to kind of get it moving. You know, it was nothing super special. There was no precedent of solds for this, so I just kind of slapped a number on. There's someone that had this listed for 50 bucks, and I knew it wasn't worth that. So I just kind of guessed on my price, and it took a fair amount of months to sell. So 18's great with me. This is a vintage Gilbert cut lead crystal desk lamp. Vanity, table, boudoir, nightlight, all the keywords that I use when I have these little tiny lamps. It sold for full asking. I believe I have 5 into this. I've had this guy for quite a while. I did include a picture of it lit, so I try to always include that, but I do always include that I am not shipping a bulb with this. I'm not going to include one more thing to break in that box. So I just say, this was just used to test it, so you will need to get your own bulb. This is a 20s to 30s vintage floral Barbola. Barbola is this right here, the kind of colored decoration floral arrangement here that's sculpted onto it. That's Barbola. And it just gold black accents, 5x7 with the original glass. Original glass is important for buyers, especially with antiques. So, you know, there's ways that I'll try to go over in later videos about how to tell if you have, you know, antique glass as well. And you should include that in your listing because that is very relevant to people buying it and will increase your sale value. But this, we have maybe $1 into this and sold for 30 bucks. And super easy to pack and ship. This is, he's cute, he's big, but he's cute. He's an Oshko International 18-inch plush dog, beagle, white brown puppy. He's just a big little guy. He's super cute though, but he sold for a full asking price. Did it by parcel select, so I always put them in a clear bag. He had nothing on him that made me worry that he would be damaged in a poly mailer, so I put him in a poly mailer. My other resolution this year is trying not to overpack so much. I am an overpacker by 1,000,000%, so I'm trying not to be as wasteful with packing. So I did put him in a poly mailer. I cringed a little, but he's gonna be okay. There's nothing on them that's gonna be hurt, but it was still painful because typically I'd box them up. But it was just, I'm trying to get better at not super packing everything because it takes the buyers longer to open it, and it costs a lot of money to do so, to pack it like that. So this is a lot of 1975 Shrinky Dinks frosted 8x10 refills, 19 total sheets because the one that was open had 9 and a tiny fraction of a piece, so it was nearly new, but it did decrease the value a fair amount because one was open. So I want to show you this one and then this one, and this is a Shrinky Dinks crystal clear 8x10 refill pack, and again from 1975 and new. So I sold both of these to the same buyer for $36 total plus shipping. So I paid $1 for all of them. So I think that's a great little profit. So these vintage Shrinky Dinks absolutely are worth, you know, picking up. This is the first time I've seen them in the wild, but they're cute, they're fun. So definitely should look for those. And this is just a square glass paperweight with fish, blue, clear, yellow, sea life. Nothing special, not signed by any means. Sold for $17 on Poshmark. I do think it sold on Poshmark because the shipping is more affordable, because it was a heavy guy. Probably about 3 pounds. At least 3 pounds, I think, was into this one. But it still wasn't big, just very dense. And so 17's fine. That's a totally fine price for me. Took forever to sell, but at least I don't have to keep looking at it. And this was actually a very decent sale on Mercari. And it was a Peg and Cat plush cat backpack from PBS Kids, stuffed animal. And Import Dragons with the brand that was on the tag here. Manufactured by Import Dragons. But it was, you know, PBS stuff, it can definitely be valuable because a lot of it's not as common, you know, so like dragon tails and other things like that, definitely kind of look for their items. So I paid probably 50 cents for this at the thrift store and sold it for 47 on Mercari. So thank you for joining me for part 2, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.